Back Home Media.
At Smith Auto and Truck Parts, Team PRP, we believe that our commitment to outstanding customer service sets us apart from the rest. We are constantly looking for ways to improve the quality, delivery, and inventory of our products. Our full line of new aftermarket hoods, fenders, bumpers, headlamps, tail lamps, grills, radiators, and AC condensers for your late model car or truck are second to none. You can buy from us with confidence, knowing that our parts have been cleaned, tested, and inspected, and come with our promise that you will be satisfied. With 15,000 units on site and 100,000 parts in our computerized inventory, we have just about anything you need for your late model car or truck. And if we don't have it, we'll find it for you with our free nationwide parts locating service. Visit us at 402 East Burnside Drive in Garden City, Kansas, or give us a call at 620-275-9145. This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsman. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards, and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Tabregi, and joining me, as always, is Derek Relaford down there in Arizona. How's it going, Derek?
It is going pretty good, man. How are you doing? I know how you're doing. You you just did a workout. Ricky just got back from the gym.
Feels like it.
He was rolling around on the floor, wrestling with
trying to find an HDMI cord.
Well, to be more specific, you were looking for a Walmart bag with an HDMI cord in it. So,
and turns out
who hasn't been there before? You know,
turns out it wasn't in the Walmart bag.
You know, I was trying to be hopeful, so I didn't say a bunch. But usually, when something's in a Walmart bag, a few days ago is the last time somebody saw it. There's usually a really good chance that bag got thrown away.
Right.
You know,
so and as you may recall, last week's show was hindered by this little piece of junk right here.
Yeah, great show, by the way. I loved that interview. Loved that documentary, and I actually had a lot of people reach out to me because he had shared it on his networks, and I think we know a few mutual people, and a couple people said some really nice things about the interview and this show. But last week's episode was great. Save Ricky's computer problems. Kelly Upoff is here, and I know that her baby girl has a birthday coming up in a couple of days.
Yes, she does.
So she's getting bigger and bigger every day. Hope everyone out there is doing their best. Esther Unruh's here.
Yeah.
Chris Unruh is here, and then we have Ellen Dotson. Crystal C is here, even though she got no notification. That's
I was just about to send you one too just now. I've been scrambling trying to find my HDMI cord because I couldn't get the monitor to come on, and I was like, what is going on?
Trisha Arnold is over in YouTube land. We have Esther Unruh from Greensburg tonight. Audra Harris, we're a big fan of her. Chris Unruh says hi to Trisha. Kelsey Youngblood in the house.
Hello.
Big fan of Kelsey. Karen Honshaw. Hi guys. Greetings from Wichita. Hello, Karen. And I threw an N in that name. It's not Hans Child. It looks like it's just Hochschild.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Hans Childs. She's going to be 2 on the 11th. If anyone wants to send her something, I wouldn't be objecting. Yeah. If anybody wants to help out with that, get her something for her birthday. That would be awesome. We have Crystal Eccles. I need to take reading classes. Is what I need to do. I'm really horrible with names, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit of true crime. I want to know if you have heard anything. We might have already covered this. The girl that said she was Madeleine McCann. How did that have an ending yet?
Well, they did DNA tests and it came back that she was not Madeleine McCann. So
I wonder if it came back if she was even her, if she was like just her parents' kid, like she wasn't a. Yeah,
that I don't know.
You know, I talked about this on my podcast, my personal podcast last week, but most of my friends, my wife included, they love true crime podcasts. And I will agree that they're good. Most true, even if it's poorly produced, like I can usually listen to a true crime podcast and be entertained by it. And at the end of the day, it kind of makes me feel like how I feel the last time I went fishing. I used to be an avid fisherman, and then like in 2007, I caught a fish and the hook got caught in his mouth, and it took me a long time to get the hook out. And it made me realize, like, man, I love fishing, but this fish, and I didn't eat it, I just threw it back. I was like, I'm just hurting animals for fun. So I have this like chip on my shoulder about people that are earning money doing true crime, you know, like, and they're being like comedians about it and stuff like that. But I have found a lot of what I really do think is great. And again, I'm sure somebody's monetizing it, but are you into the interrogation videos where they sort of the narrator dissects the interrogation video, the body language, everything that's said?
Yeah, I watch those. Those are pretty cool. I mean, that's kind of one of my big things is watching the investigative end of it to see how they get from point A to point B.
Yeah, it's and yeah, cool. And usually in those situations, it's not somebody just like, you know, putting some creepy music on, adding some, you know, gristle to their voice and trying to do a spooky story. And it's just, you know, it's a look at like an interrogation, like, and really that's like the most high stakes situation anybody could ever be in, is being interrogated for like a murder, you know. So I do find myself watching a lot of those, and but at the end of the day, I wish none of those shows existed, man. Like I wish this show didn't exist. I've been really bummed out lately that, you know, I spend a lot of time listening to true crime, but at the end of the day, it's all awful. It's all horrible.
Yeah.
Zilta is here between tornadoes. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, we almost had some true crime going on up here at my apartment complex a couple of nights ago. I got off work at a little after 10. I had done some shopping at Walmart after I got off because I needed to grab a few things and getting to the checkout counter. And I get a message from my neighbor next door telling me that she called 911 because she heard it. And I'm like, okay, what happened? I'm not home from work yet. And apparently somebody was shooting at somebody outside my apartment complex. And the guy that was being shot at took off one way, the shooter took off another way. And I was reading today that apparently one of the bullets went almost a mile from here and went through somebody's kitchen window and their blinds, and it was found under their dining room table. So it was a 76-year-old man and his wife that lived in that house where the bullet went through.
Let me tell you something for anybody out there who, because this is the thing, like all the negative stuff you hear about firearms from a certain political party, all of it's 100% true if that gun is in the hand of a moron. You know what I mean? Like they are very dangerous in the hands of a moron. And if you're somebody who owns a firearm and you've never taken any classes and you have zero respect for that firearm, here's a little anecdote for you. I have a family member who thought he was pretty tough. Somebody said something to him and he fired the gun in the air outside of their apartment. The bullet landed in a house next to a sleeping baby, and he did 6 years in prison. So
wow.
If you think you're cool and you're going to pull the trigger, and this is something that another show that I do in the Free Zone with Norm would say, you know, and anybody who understands how guns work and respect guns for what they are knows that you never point a gun at anything you do not intend to kill. You never point your gun at anything you're not going to kill, which means you should never point your gun at anything unless you're hunting or in battle or something. So yeah, people that are just shooting guns willy-nilly, you will, especially since that bullet landed in somebody's dwelling, your butt's going to jail if they find it.
Yeah. And going back to what you're saying about firing it in the air, well, you know, that's even stupid because what goes up has to come down somewhere, you know. And my understanding was the guy that was doing the shooting, he returned to the complex yesterday, and somebody saw him, called police, and they come out and they arrested him. So,
wow,
he went to jail. And my understanding, the officers, when they were out here walking, because I got home and there was 5 police cars on the east side of my building, there was one on the north side, 4 officers were over on the west side with flashlights looking in the grass looking for stuff, and they did find a couple 40 caliber shell casings. So he wasn't using no small gun. 40 caliber is good size. That's what police carry around here is 40 caliber.
Yeah. I just, you got to think, because honestly, whoever shot that gun, whoever they were mad at, how awful would they feel right now if that bullet would have killed a stranger? That's something. Anyway, we got to get to the show, but here we go. I want to talk about this. Manny says, "Hey guys, thanks again for your help looking for my nephew. My nephew's cousin Verlin Timms Jr. You guys are awesome for helping find our loved ones who are missing. Mad love and respect." I gotta tell you, I was heartbroken when I saw how that one, turned up. And I gotta tell you what, Mandy,
found in the river.
Yeah, I gotta tell you what, Mandy, I've been doing this show for 3 years with Ricky, and we've only made 2 tribute videos to the located deceased, and it took 1.5 years to fill up enough slots to make a video. In the last 3 months, we have enough plus almost too many for a new. So, Verlin and a ton of other people tragically lost their lives that that people have been looking for a long time. So my heart goes out to you. The show's heart goes out to you. Back Home Media's heart goes out to you. I wish it was a different situation, but it was an honor to cover his case.
Justin Sywick was the latest that was found deceased, and he was found in the river too, I believe. So,
I know Justin Sywick because whenever I was trying to help you work basically what Tatum does for you now, when I was trying to do that, which is a hard job to do, I actually called the police station about his case, and that was the furthest I got on a call. They went and looked up for 20 minutes, and they came back and said, yeah, he's still missing. So that's one that I'll always remember. And I was really bummed out when I saw that he had passed. But Amy's wondering if a bullet can travel a mile. I think so.
Yeah, I would imagine so, especially the 40 caliber, because those are whoa. I mean, when I did Citizens Academy several years back, we went to the firing range and we got to shoot the sheriff's officers 40 caliber, and they got quite a kick.
Yeah, I'm sure, man.
Yeah, nobody was hurt, thankfully. I mean, nobody got hurt, nobody got shot. So
I'm one of those. I'm pro gun, but I don't really shoot a lot of guns. But it's not because I'm against them. It's just the only time I really ever shoot guns is when I'm around my drummer. He's a big gun guy. Yeah. He likes to shoot when I'm around him, and then my grandpa. But literally, that's usually just. It's not hunting. We go out and we, put a bunch of cans out on a hill or something and shoot it. But it's really fun to shoot a gun. But at the end of the day, those bullets are going somewhere. You better be somewhere where wherever that gun's aim is not going to hit anybody or mess with their day. We love you too, Mandy. Please keep up with the show. Reach out to the page. We're sorry to hear that happened. It was terrible.
Well, you heard about the one down in Texas. The family family went over. One of the family went over and asked this guy to quit shooting. He had an AR style rifle. Asked him to stop firing it or go to a different location to fire it because he was keeping the baby awake. So he loads that thing up and goes next door and he kills 5 people. So, yeah. They've got him arrested finally too. They found him hiding under a pile of laundry in a closet.
Crazy
thing
world,
was, man. He was deported 4 times.
Wow. Well, we want to thank everybody for hanging in there. We are going to go ahead and get started with the show.
Yeah.
I love covering Dietrich's case, but I hate covering Dietrich's case. I wish there was resolution. Again, $5,000 reward. Ricky's going to tell you all about it.
You had a chance to talk to Jordan Foster yet?
What's that?
Have you had a chance to talk to Jordan Foster yet?
I have been talking to Jordan. Yeah, it's been a few days since I've checked in, but we were talking for a few days when I first reached out to her.
Okay, cool. But Dietrich Foster, he's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12th of 2020, so a little over 3 years now. 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. Last seen around April 12th, 2020. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Foster's disappearance. And he was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And as you mentioned, there is a governor's award of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich. And I brought this up before. I did talk to a law enforcement officer and regarding Dietrich's case, and he had made the comment that there may be people that are afraid to speak up and tell what they know. And what he said, and I agree with him. He said that, he understands them being afraid, but if they were to step up and speak up and say what they know so they could go out and make an arrest, they would get them off the street and they wouldn't have to worry about being afraid because they would be off the street. So, if you have that information, don't hesitate to call them in. Even if you think it's just a minor little detail, get it called in. It may be something huge they need.
Yeah. One of those things though, like you start asking questions about these cases from the family members and stuff, and like there's so much to it that's not on the flyer, but again, you can't just go out and say this stuff publicly unless you kind of get there's a little thing called collateral damage. First of all, if me and Ricky were to implicate anybody in a crime on this show publicly, and then that person got any kind of backlash from that, first of all, we could have legal consequences, but second of all, like that would make us crappy people. Like I don't want to ruin anybody's life, especially if they haven't done anything wrong. So that's why a lot of times these flyers are a little on the vague side. But I do love that a lot of these cases have publicly ran, usually a family member running Facebook pages or blogs. And if you check those sites out, a lot of times you'll get a lot more to the story, a lot more that the family and loved ones are more comfortable sharing, where it's not two strangers that have never met Dietrich. But yeah, it's frustrating knowing that this flyer says very vaguely that nobody's seen Dietrich for a long time and that maybe he was murdered. And that just lets your mind wander like, well, what the heck does that mean? So, obviously very frustrating, but hopefully, somebody can come forward and just speak their piece and at least get the police on the right trail.
Right. In the last 2 years, last year and this year, we've been asked to be part of the media blitz, getting Dietrich's case out there and cover it and not let it be forgotten. We were asked by the Independence Police Department to do that. So, we're more than happy to oblige to do that to make sure Dietrich doesn't get forgotten and, fall between the cracks somewhere.
Yeah. It's not good. I hate that, we just repeat cover these cases, and that's just a sign that nothing's happened since last week. And speaking of which, Alexander Perez, have not heard a peep out of this camp in a long time.
I have not either. He's missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020, coming up on 3 years this December, if he's not found before then. He was 35 when he was missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He had called a family member via phone on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he's not been heard from or seen by family or friends since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, and he has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Alexander located and back to his family. I know this has been really hard on them. They want to get him get him found and back home, and see what we can do to help make that happen.
And then here's the last audio from Alexander that exists right now.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
That's definitely a scary phone call or message. I mean, you don't know if it was a precursor to what happened to him or what.
I don't know. Not good. Not good at all. Not a fan of that voicemail.
But I'm a big advocate of somebody, with a lot of these, almost all of these cases, actually, that somebody somewhere knows something. It's just time to do the right thing and speak up and let people know what you know. So, rights can be wrong, justice can be given. Just a matter of doing it.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Dana Jane Bruce.
Okay, Dana Bruce is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She'll now be 37. She's 5'2". She weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair and glitter hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She had left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man she was with that night. He had traveled to Atlanta after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar and never saw her again after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush, and she doesn't have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She'd now be 37. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. Dana was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178. We're toll free at 866-362-6422 and see if we can help get Dana located and back to her family. Because again, here's another family that's just, wanting to know where their loved one is and want her home. So let's see what we can do to help to make that happen.
I feel like that flyer needs to be reworked.
What part?
Am I? Well, just because it mentions the guy in the truck, and then our source is saying that he was cleared. So I just feel like if that's true, I mean, we'd obviously should find out if that's 100% sure if he has been cleared. I feel like based on what we said 5 minutes ago, maybe we should reword this flyer and leave him out of it if he was truly in fact cleared.
Right.
But I just thought about that since they said they were clear. But yeah, obviously, we want to bring Dana home. Her family needs to see her. We covered this case a couple weeks ago. Obviously, it is the anniversary a few days ago of this horrible crime.
Yeah.
Ricky was alive and well back then in that city, and he's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah. This past Saturday, it was the 30th anniversary of her disappearance. She went missing April 29th, 1993, Catherine Adam. She was 35 when she was missing. She'll now be 65. She's 5'4", 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen at 4:30 in the morning on April 29th, 1983 at Quick Shop on the 1700 block of West Crawford Street in Salina. She drove a full-size Ford van with "She Has Legs" written on the sides in white and blue lettering. Her van turned up abandoned at 5:45 p.m. the day after Catherine's disappearance at Russell's Restaurant in the 600 block of West Point Boulevard. The restaurant was closed for remodeling at that time. The van was spattered with mud on the outside and it was blood-soaked on the inside. A large amount of blood was also found at a storage unit in West Salina where Catherine, a saleswoman for Legs Hosier Company, picked up her stock each day. But there was no sign of her at either place, and she has never been heard from again. Police speculate someone attacked Catherine when she went inside the storage unit. It appeared they interrupted her in the process of loading the merchandise in her van, leaving the door of the unit open. Catherine was separated from her husband at the time of her disappearance and has a teenage daughter, which she's now an adult. Her case remains unsolved and foul play is suspected. If you do have any information regarding Catherine's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA TIPS to 274-637 or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 or 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't help get Catherine located and back home where she needs to be. I do know they have actually switched gears a little bit on the case and are investigating it more in terms of a homicide because they're feeling like that with all the blood they found at the scene and all the blood they found in the van, that she couldn't have possibly survived whatever injury she sustained. And my understanding was there was either shell casings or bullet fragments found at the scene out there at the storage unit. So, hopefully we can help get her found and brought back to where she needs to be. And as I mentioned, like I said, this last Saturday, the 29th, was the 30th anniversary of her disappearance. And I was really hoping to see local media here in Salina get on board with that and get her case out there, but zero did. None. Not even the police department had anything on their Facebook regarding her case at all either. I was the only one that put up a post. So.
That's crazy.
Yep. So see if we can help get this thing pushed far and wide. Get it into the right hands, the right eyes, the right ears, and get some information in on her case.
Yeah. That's pretty sad. Nobody talked about it, man.
Yeah, nobody. After I put my post up and throughout the day that day, I checked all the local, like KSAO, Salina Post, Salina Journal, Salina 311, none of them. Not a one. And it's sad. It's that way with every unsolved, homicide here in town and every missing person here in town. Nobody ever says a word. I'm the only one that's keeping these cases out there and alive and not letting them be forgotten.
Yeah.
Say the only one. I mean, I know Annette Lawless does her part down there in Wichita, Cake, and I'm very appreciative that she does do that. So I got to give her kudos for that. So. But as far as local here in Salina, yeah, I'm the only one.
Yeah. Well, hopefully more people speak up about it. I do think that's a travesty that, it seems like people have forgotten and it hasn't been that long ago.
No.
Let's talk about Gabriel.
Okay, this is Gabriel Gabe Newton. He's missing from Topeka, Kansas since March 25th of 2023. 17, 6'3", 170 pounds, red hair and blue eyes. About much as I have on him, unfortunately. I wished I had more information. If you have any information regarding Gabriel's disappearance, of his whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. and see if we can't get Gabe located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah. Hasn't been too long, so hopefully,
Yeah.
I say, we end up saying a lot of the same things, but anytime I see a case that's pretty fresh, I'm hoping that somebody just is cooling off and goes home,
Yeah.
Carrie says Gabe is my cousin. We love to hear he is safe.
Hopefully we can help get him found safe. That's the ultimate goal.
And then Carrie says these flyers are shared on missing persons search team in Kansas Facebook page.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And Carrie points out that I have no idea how calendars work. That is a lot longer than a few days. Yeah, sorry about that, Carrie. I rarely know. Every week, if Ricky just goes through his text messages every week on Tuesday, there's a text from me early in the morning. Is the show today?
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week I ask him, is the show today? I never know what's going on. But yeah, hopefully we can get some answers on that. Let's go ahead and talk about Lucas.
Yeah, Mrs. Lucas Stamps, missing from Baxter Springs, Kansas since April 10th, 2023. He's 17. He's 6 foot tall, weighs 140 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. I'm going to say Baxter Springs, Kansas again, kind of botched it the first time. It's believed he may be in Seneca or Springfield, Missouri area. And I've seen some comments on his flyer saying he's been active on his social media. That's common for missing juveniles to stay active on their social media. I see that a lot. So, I mean, it's not completely unusual, but hopefully law enforcement can use that as a way to track them a little bit. I hope. I'm not sure. But again, he's 17, 6 foot tall, 140 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Lucas's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Baxter Springs, Kansas Police Department at 620-856-2112 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Lucas located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
You can see he's got some tattoos on his arms there and on his hand. Looks like he's got one just right above his left eye there, but I can't quite tell what that is. But so he's got some ink there, so it shouldn't make him too hard to spot.
Yeah, especially if he's wearing like a short sleeve. Those tattoos are pretty noticeable. You would notice those if you saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Dakota.
Alrighty. And this one is a very interesting case. He's missing from Labette County, Kansas since April 25th, 2023. He's 23, 6 foot tall, 220 pounds, brown hair and blue eyes. His vehicle was found in the 18,000 Quaker Road area. He had 2 blown out front tires, and it looked like it had been dragged into the middle of a field while it was still in park. There was no sign of Dakota found in the car, around the car, anywhere near in the area of the car. The field where Dakota's vehicle was found in is about a mile from the home of the person he was last seen with, which was an adult male. It was reported that Dakota and the adult male were last seen arguing over female at a gas station. Dakota does have a medical condition that he does not have his medication for, increasing concern for his whereabouts. And he's 23 years old. He's 6 foot tall, weighs 220 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Dakota's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Labette County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-795-2565 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Dakota located and back home to his family, because here again, another family. It hasn't been very long, but they're searching high and low and everywhere they can think of to try to find him.
Yeah. A lot of youngsters tonight, man.
Yeah, the whole vehicle thing is interesting. Found 2 blown out front tires and it looked like it was dragged in the middle of the field while it was still in park, which can't be good on the transmission or anything else on the front end for that matter, which might explain the blown tires.
Yeah. Wow. Let's talk about Nellie.
All right, this one here is another Salina case that I like to keep them out there, obvious reasons. This is an unsolved homicide. Her murder has been unsolved for 42 years now. Happened on March 14th, 1981. She was found deceased in a residence at 1008 East Elm. On a cot she slept on in her living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was found on the floor. She did put up a struggle during her attack, and ultimately she died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. She also had an injury to the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other internal injuries. Upon searching Nellie's house, investigators found $93,000 in cash and over $100,000 in CDs or certificates of deposits, and a large quantity of silver coins dating back to 1886. Yeah, and investigators also discovered that Nellie's home was filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made 2 bedrooms completely unusable. She deserves to be able to rest in peace. So, asking to please help bring her killer to justice. The only evidence, well, they did find some blood evidence they feel belongs to the killer, but they also found the cigarette lighter that you see there with the stars and stripes and vote. Yeah, that was the only other evidence besides a little bit of blood. But so that it was part of a series of lighters that was released as part of the 1980 presidential or the general election. They were sold in various places around Salina and around the state of Kansas. One example I brought up was like if you know somebody that may have had that series of lighters and that particular lighter was missing from the series, that would be something you would let the police know so they could look into that. Or if somebody had that particular lighter and used it, faithfully, and all of a sudden one day they don't have it anymore with no explanation as to where it went to, that'd be another thing to think about calling in as well. So, if you have any information regarding Nellie's death, please call Salina, Kansas Police Department, 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA TIPS to crimes, which is 274-637, or go to pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't help get some information generated in her case and help find out who did this. One little side note was that an article did come out back in the 80s regarding her case where Otis Toole, who was a sidekick of Henry Lee Lucas, they were a couple of guys that went cross country and claimed responsibilities for hundreds and hundreds of murders cross country. They were actually unable linked to quite a few less, but they made the comment that they were in Kansas and around the Salina area at around the time that Nellie was murdered. And detectives were sent down to talk to Otis Toole down in Florida where he was sitting on death row, and eventually determined they weren't involved. But just kind of interesting little twist in the case there. But, if anybody has any information, don't hesitate to call it in. Even if you think, like I said before, even if you think it's just a minute little piece of whatever, could be a big piece of, the puzzle they need to fit things together to get them going in the right direction.
I'm just glad that you were nosy enough to get that lighter found, man.
Yeah. Some people might think, oh, it's just a lighter, but if it's an unusual lighter, it's not just a plain Jane stainless steel lighter. It's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
So, surely somebody would remember somebody having something like that. But yeah, I'm glad I got those photos too.
That's crazy that, even, and again, I don't know this for a fact, obviously, but if you would have asked me 6 months ago, do you think that lighter exists? I'd have said, nope. That probably got lost, in 1981, it probably got lost. Somebody probably took it because it's a cool lighter. But to find out, but you wonder, like, is Catherine Adams' van just parked somewhere, like in an evidence, like, it couldn't be in an evidence locker. It'd have to be like an evidence, building.
All right.
But you just wonder, like, what do they do? And another thing that's kind of dark is we talk about William and Barbara Singer on this show sometimes, and they're the Phoenix couple that were tragically murdered. It was close to my house, like close to my house. That's all I'm gonna say. But people live there now, and I asked my buddy who's a real estate agent. I said, "Hey, if a murder or a homicide happens in a house, does the next homeowner have to be informed that a homicide occurred there?" And they said, "Nope, never gets brought." So I'm probably pretty sure that the people living in the Singer house now have no idea what transpired there, which is probably for the better. I wouldn't want to know if anything happened in my house, but it's just one of those things, like, this horrible stuff happens and it goes away, and people like me and Ricky talk about it and try to keep it alive. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's real, man. It is real. That stuff is somewhere.
Right. Just like, there's people living in Nellie's house. Yeah. Another unsolved homicide here in town, Beverly Logan. There's people living in that house, over on Iron. And it's just like, I wonder if they even knew when they got that house what went on. I know the ones in Nellie's house do. I know they know. But I don't know about Beverly Logan's house.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brian.
This is Brian. Yeah, we've covered him before, and he's still missing. Brian Gilliland Jr. missing from Parsons, Kansas since August 18th of 2022, so it's been a little while. 16 when he went missing, 5'7", 170 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. Don't have much more than that, unfortunately. I wish I did. And if anybody has any information regarding Brian's disappearance or his whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or 620-421-7067. Or KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Brian located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah. A lot of young kids on this show. I don't like that, man. We got a lot of youngsters missing right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about James.
Okay. I'm not sure I pronounced this last time. I'm going to say it's Geisler. I'm going to go with that. James Geisler, missing from here in town since April 23rd, 2023. He's 16. He's 6 foot to 6'1", weighs between 150 and 180 pounds. Has blonde or strawberry hair and green eyes. If you have any information regarding James's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call Solana, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can't get him located and back to where he needs to be. Yeah, we have covered him in the past. This is a new one.
See, now Diana's onto a point here. It might be different in the state of Kansas. I'm talking about here in Arizona. I talked to a real estate person, but yeah, it might be different in every state. But I thought that was kind of, but to be honest, there was no, when I lived in Kansas, me and my wife bought the house from her siblings because both of her parents had passed away. Stephanie, that's a little plug here. My wife does a show called Parentless Podcast where she talks to other people who don't have parents. Ricky was a guest on there, but something happened to the audio. We got to redo it. But anyway.
Okay.
Anytime. Yeah. My wife, both of her parents passed away, and what's crazy is they both passed away in the house that we ended up buying. And then my wife's father, his first wife, well before my wife was born, his first wife passed away in that house of cancer. 2 of them died of cancer. 1 of them died of a heart attack. We didn't tell the people that bought it from us, hey, by the way, a bunch of people died here. Like, we didn't mention it. It's like, and again, it wasn't a crime scene. It was natural causes. But I mean, you buy a house, you rent a house, you don't know what happened there, man.
That's true. That's true. I would think they would have to disclose it because I would want to know if I'm moving into a house where something bad happened. That's for sure.
Yeah. Wish they would do DNA on all the old cases. 100%.
Yeah, me too.
That would be nice if they could test the DNA. Yeah. I wonder how much DNA costs because, that used to be the big thing. You'd hear about cases where people were, you'd have people that were in prison that were saying like, hey, I can prove I didn't do it. Test the DNA, and they always be like, well, who's going to pay for it? It's like, how much does it cost to? And again, I'm gonna expose how dumb I am. But how much does it cost to put some stuff in a tube and shake it up and put it in the machine? I mean, like I'm just like, why is it so expensive to? But I think at the end of the day, it probably has more to do with, like, if you really want to get off on a topic, Google how many rape kits there are in America that have never been tested.
Oh man,
that's a real thing. There's so many of them that have never been tested.
No, I know.
So, yeah. Let's talk about Caitlin.
Okay, this one's Caitlin Fry, missing from Kansas City, Missouri since April 25th, 2023. She's 17. She is 5'7", 180 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She went to the library and was supposed to be home by dark, but she did not return. It's believed she may still be in the local Kansas City area, or she may be in the St. Joseph, Missouri area. Again, she's 17. She is 5'7", 180 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Caitlin's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5150 or 816-234-5111 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422 and see if we can't help get Caitlin located and back to where she needs to be.
I would want to know.
Yep.
Let's talk about Del Fig.
Okay. This is Del Fig. Went missing from Kansas City, Missouri on April 2nd, 2023. She's 24, 5 foot tall, 120 pounds. Her hair's dyed green and hazel eyes. She previously went by the name of Haley Townley. And I was informed that Del uses the pronouns they and them, so I'm trying to remind myself to use those. Del was last seen in the area of 40 Euclid in Kansas City, Missouri. Del's vehicle was located abandoned on I-70, 20 miles west of Salina, Utah, on April 10th, 2023. And yes, there is a Salina, Utah. Del's 24. They are 5 foot tall and weigh 120 pounds. They have dyed green hair and hazel eyes. And Del does have multiple facial piercings. Del has a tattoo of a squid on her right thigh, a tattoo of KC face on their left thigh, a tattoo of a bat below the right knee, a tattoo of Lola Bunny on their upper back thigh, and a tattoo of fine piece and cursive script below the elbow. If you have any information regarding Del's disappearance, or you know of their whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department Missing Persons Unit at 816-234-5043. or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422 and see if we can't get Del located and back to where they need to be. And hopefully Del's okay. Just do it.
Is this the first time we've covered Del?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was trying to remember if we've covered Del before or not.
Del Fig is a unique name, so I feel like I've seen it before.
Yeah,
she's only been missing, for a month.
Yeah, formerly used the name Haley Townley. So,
yeah, cool tattoos.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can find Del. Probably got a lot of people worried.
Yep, definitely.
That's no good. Let's talk about our buddy Kenny Wright-Check.
Okay, he's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he's on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since then. Apparently, he had been, what had happened was he was evicted from his apartment over on West Elm Street next to the police department. And he was taken to the Gospel Mission on the southwest end of town. And from what I understand, he was having some issues with a resident that was staying at the mission. And so he decided to leave and left. He doesn't have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. Mode of transportation that he had was a bicycle that he rode and pushed around, picking up scrap for extra cash. And there's been some conflicts on the bicycle too. One said his original bike was stolen and was replaced, and not sure. Some people think it was the first bike that was stolen. Some think it was the second bike that was stolen. So it's kind of confusing. But at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA TIPS to 274-637 or visit pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way, or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be.
And I keep forgetting to redo this flyer. I misfired on it, as you can see. I put his flyer. I mean, it's good that his flyer's on there twice, but real quick, again, I've said it several times. If anybody has any idea, if we have any dare I say hackers, no, if we have anybody who's good at being like a web sleuth, we are looking for pictures of Kenny. He was around the area for years. I'm assuming somebody he was in pictures, because Ricky talks about, like you said, he had like a what'd you say his hair was like?
Like reddish. It was a red kind of red.
Yeah, you said like he had like red hair. So like, I mean, we just see, Kenny when he was, towards the end when he went missing. I'd like, just because I'd like to see him. If anybody knows how to get pictures of Kenny when he was younger, we'd love to just put some more pictures up there so we can, help spread the word. But mainly I just want to, I've been covering Kenny for 3 years now, and I'd like to see more pictures of him. Maybe it's a selfish thing. Talking about the flyer we just covered, Crystal says we did cover Delphig 2 weeks ago. She's thinking.
Okay. I thought maybe we did, but I know I added more pictures and changed the wording up. So
Diana says, I really wish Kenny could be found. He would help anyone if he could. We wish we could help. Yeah,
definitely, Diana, definitely.
Walt Sanders, I don't think I've seen that name before. He frequently went to Bennington Lake to fish. No one has checked or dove that lake. Wow. Go ahead and jot that down, Rick.
Yeah, we'll do that. Talking about the Bennington State Lake up there.
Walt, thank you for tuning in. Maybe this is I don't recall you commenting before, but thanks for coming in with a comment. That's like a pretty solid thing we've never heard.
I've never heard that before.
I like your style, Walt.
I wonder how he got up there on a bicycle. Did somebody take him up there? Did he ride his bike?
Well, that's the thing, man. He might have only had a bicycle, but I'm telling you, if he was in Salina that long, there were people that helped him out. Granted, were these people, taking advantage of him and so I don't know, but I guarantee he got rides and stuff. People probably posed as friends, whether they wanted something from him or not. But I'm assuming he, got rides and stuff. Walter said he was often by the dam fishing. Thanks for the tips. We're gonna forward.
It's worth a look into. But mean that he went missing in November. I don't know if that'd be too cold to go fishing or not. But it's worth a look.
Maybe Muddy Waters wants to hear that piece of information.
I was just thinking that,
Me and Ricky, I don't know if you can tell by looking at the screen, but let me show you two people who are not going in the water. we will do all the battle on land. These two guys are not going in the water. But yeah, we can forward that to anybody. If anybody has any info on people that are divers, maybe YouTube channels or people that just dive, that's a good tip. We've never heard that before. We've been covering that case for 3 years, so I dig it. Real quick, we have a couple more cases to get through before we got to do our located safe video that Brandon made for us tonight. Let's talk about Dimitrik, and I feel like we've covered Dimitrik in the past.
Oh, we have. We've been asked to reshare him and Brian Gilliland and Lucas Stamps and just trying to get him out there. So Dimitrik DeWitt, he's missing from Parsons, Kansas since October 14, 2022. He's 15. He's 5'5", weighs 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. I believe he may be in the Independence, Kansas area. And he's 15. He's 5'5", weighs 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dimitrich's disappearance, so you know his whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or 620-421-7057 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Dimitrich located and back to where he needs to be.
And you're sure on that age? Like, you've updated this like recently, or?
Yeah, I made that back in October. I mean, I haven't looked to see if he's turned 16 yet or not, but let me look. I can tell you real quick here.
I was gonna say, usually you're pretty on top of that type of.
I try to stay on top of his best thinking, and I know last week when I reshared him, he hadn't turned 16 yet, but.
By the way, while you're looking that up, this could have changed, but an hour before the show, state of Kansas, 201 juveniles missing, 333 adults.
Wow.
As of an hour before airtime.
Shows that he's still 15 on KBI. So
okay,
cool.
That's another thing, people. By the way, at the bottom of the screen, patreon.com/KMUpod. That is a link that'll take you to a place where you can pledge $1, $2, $3, $100, whatever you want. It's a monthly pledge situation. All the money goes directly to Ricky. And it's for making all these flyers we use. And, just because he'll make a flyer and that's fine. But most of the time, if a case has legs and say a case lasts 2 years or longer, because of birthdays, updates, picture updates, Ricky makes a flyer typically 7 or 8 times before it's all said and done. Right. So he doesn't just make the flyer once. So if anybody out there wants to help Ricky out, you just go to patreon.com/KMUpod.
Yeah.
And just pledge a couple bucks a month. It really helps Ricky out. If you want to help me out,
it also helps to take care of technical difficulties like this from last week.
It sure does. If you want to help me out, just go to backhomemedia.com and listen to all of the podcasts on there. That's how you help me out. I work for Ricky. I produce his show. I produce his podcast. You can listen to his podcast on any platform. And so if you want to help out Ricky, go to patreon.com/KMUpod. You want to help me out, go to backhomemedia.com and listen to all the podcasts. They're really good. Let's talk about, we just talked about Dimitrich. This is tonight's case that we are naming the show after, missing in Wichita, Josie Holloway. Ricky, tell us all about it.
She's been missing since March 28, 2023. She's 17. She is 5'2", 130 pounds. She has light brown blonde hair and brown eyes. Sorry about that. Again, she's missing from Wichita. Was asked to reshare hers as well. She does have a piercing through the bridge of her nose, and both eyebrows are pierced, as you can see there in the photos there. And if you have any information regarding Josie's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Josie located and back to where she needs to be.
It's been a little while, man.
Yeah.
And again, like we were talking about earlier, it's been a rough couple of months as far as getting some really bad news. Oh, by the way, Brandon, he's gonna work on. I don't know, because again, like we just put out a located deceased video, and like we already have enough to do another one. So we're gonna have one of those soon. Also, we are going to start releasing our located safe videos via the Facebook page, and then we can put them in a place where Ricky can upload them to the YouTube channel. We want to get as many eyes and ears on those as possible, because that is really the reason I know Ricky does this, is because of that located safe video that we do every week. So without further ado, here is the latest from producer extraordinaire, out of Raleigh, North Carolina, Brandon Smith.
Yep, always like to see the located safe rails.
Same.
Yeah.
So Tuesday next week, right? I don't need to text you. I'm still gonna text you Tuesday morning. That's right. You're gonna be like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Tuesday next week.
Yesterday, let's just say way too many dead rats. Work's been crazy, buddy.
I bet.
Way too many dead rats yesterday.
Really?
I'm tired of it. Yeah, dude. I am over dead rats, dude.
Wow.
But it's a job, and I don't hate it. And I was talking to Brandon last night. There's several, and if anybody there's several work from home options available, today, and it's really a cool gig. And I did that for 2 years. But no matter how many dead rats I have to deal with, that's a part of my job I don't like. But honestly, like the fact that I have to quote unquote work hard, like 8 hours a day, is the only reason I don't weigh 600 pounds right now. like I've lost some weight, but it's really just because. So that's like the main reason I like my job, is because it's a lot of physical labor, and I'm somebody who will never go to a gym. But if my boss says, "Hey, go do all this work all day," I'm like, "All right, I can do that." So. I'm kind of at a point where I'm kind of held hostage by my job. I'm just like, I just like the activity. I like being out by myself all day. So, yeah. Real quick, I don't have a ton of details on it, but we are going to get out of here quick. July 1st, Garden City, Kansas. There's going to be an event. Ricky's he's been working on basically just a deep dive on Finney County in Kansas. All of the missing people, all of the unsolved homicides that we have flyers for. We're going to try to get those updated. We have a couple months to do it, but basically there's going to be some comedy, some music. It's going to be at a really popular, very nice, very well rated establishment there in town. We did an event last year and there was a packed. So a lot of Ricky's hard work is going to be put up on display there. Think of it as an art show, but the art is all just local cases to that county that need eyes on them. So it's a really good project that I've been working on. So if anybody is in the Finney County area, we will have more info on that as the time comes. But July 1st, big event. All of Ricky's flyers are going to be on showcase, and we're going to have a booth set up. Try to get a bunch of new subscribers, a bunch of new followers, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Ricky, do you have anything you want to get in before we get out of here? Or?
I think you should still get the band booked at the Smoky River Festival, man. That'd be cool.
I actually emailed them. I haven't heard back yet, but we would love to play this. So me and my brother live here in Phoenix. Our drummer and bass player live in Dodge City and Garden City. And then our guitar player, singer, other backup singer, he lives in Denver. So
wow,
we played 2 shows last year. One of them I took a train to, the other one I flew to. Had a ball. So much fun playing with the guys. But yeah, we're all 40 years old and definitely we call anytime we travel, we call it the too old to tour. So we just meet in one city and play in July. We're actually playing a couple of shows. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, it's gonna be so awesome to post all Ricky's flyers up and just really, really open up the eyes of Finney County for a night and be like, hey, have you seen these people and what do you know about these cases? So yeah, and we're gonna try to play the River Festival. Ricky is telling us. Candace says, keep
hey,
doing
Candace, thank you. Trying my best.
Shady bougie.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Where you been, Shady? We ain't seen you for a long time.
Holy goodness.
Believe me, we brought you up several times over the last few weeks. Where's Shady at?
I gotta tell you, Shady, it is good to hear from you. Shady says, just wanted to pop in.
Well,
I'll rewind. Hope you two are well. Shady.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, I'm gonna be honest. Me and Brandon have been trying to talk him out of it, Shady, but he's been working on a missing poster for you. We've been worried about you, Shady. Has anybody seen Shady Bougie? Is what we've been. We haven't seen Shady in so long. That's awesome.
Well, here's a project for you. I'm looking at KBI at Finney County. They have 8 listed as missing. Only 1 has a photo.
So let's get cracking on. Tell me names. I know Garden City. I have people there. I can get us some photos, or I can at least work on it. But yeah, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome event. It's going to be a lot of people there.
That's a big problem with KBI's missing persons website. Lack of photos of the missing person. What we got? January 2015, March of 2023, August of 2022, June of 2022, September of 1992, January 5th of 2020. Of course, Rachel Pratt, January 15th, 1995. She's the one that has the photo. And then January 10th, 2023. So there's a total of 8 in Finney County, and only 1 has a photo. And that's Rachel Pratt. I'll screenshot it and send it to you so you can check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. We obviously, if we're gonna do this, we need some pictures for sure.
Yeah, that's disheartening for me to see that. So many missing people, so few photos. I mean, I've said it. You can say somebody's 5'7", 190 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. How many millions of people did you just describe?
Yeah.
Without a photo, it does no good. It does no good.
Yeah, so that's the truth, man.
Yep. Now, Lucia Hernandez, I've got a flyer for her, even though they don't have a photo there. I've got photos. So, yep. I'll have to go through and see which ones I have flyers for and which ones I don't. I'll narrow it down that way. And I think I have one for... Where did I see that one? What's her name? Blanca Chotcock. I have a flyer for her, I know. So there's 2. And then Rachel Pratt I have one for. So there's 3. So that would leave 5 that I know that I don't. So... my work's cut out for me.
Well,
like I said, it's heart-wrenching when you see all these missing people and no photos. Because like I say, you can say somebody's 5'7", 180, brown hair, brown eyes. How many millions of people does that fit? Without a photo, it doesn't do much good. Got to do better somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get photos of Blanca, and if I can get photos of Lucia, Why can't they? I'm not even in law enforcement, but I can get them.
Well, send me that screenshot. We'll get that taken care of.
Yeah, well, I can do her. But with that being said, you guys, thank you all for being here tonight. It was a good show. Always love joining you guys and going over these cases and trying to bring some resolution to these cases, hopefully. That's the goal, is to bring resolution. So, with that being said, I just want to say, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together again tonight to go over these cases. And, just pray that the people that have the information to unlock these cases will do the right thing and call that information in, because there's people that want answers and people that want their loved ones home. So I pray that we can help make that happen. And so we see each other again next week. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. We will see you Tuesday. Have a good night.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and a person the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, the crown fits. If the crown fits,